Hey, Josh Tigg, Running T Farms, morning cattle move here. We are moved over and started grazing on our very first new growth forage for this year. We finished up we didn't finish it up. We still have stockpiled forage that we're not going to be able to get to just because we want to take advantage of this, highly nutritious grass in the spring, and we are understocked at the moment. So we have a good portion of the farm that we're not going to get to graze the stockpile off of. But we've been moved into this break a day and a half. Yesterday, we moved into it for a half a day. On Friday, yesterday was the first full day of grazing. Wanted to wait till today to shoot the video here so I could get the graze dialed in a little bit and see what type of animal days per acre we was harvesting. And so I've done that, and we'll walk out here to the cows. Of course, we're back on pressurized water. You can see the water tank there. I move it every day. But I thought, I was walking out through here and I thought, well, we'll take a look at the graze and a little bit of the manure consistency, and then we'll go look at the forage, and we'll talk about how we've been able to achieve that. So I'm going to very nice manure pat, very good consistency. You know, a lot of this has been stepped in, but I would just like for you to note that it's all forming pats. It's not running around like water on the ground. So we know that it's got a good balance of protein to fiber. So there's one that's on the edge. And like I said, we expected their manure to loosen up just a bit. We haven't been, nature has been preparing them to graze this more lush forage as we've been finishing up our stockpile grazing, because you're getting new growth up through that stockpile. So we would actually had to open the cows up and put them on a more selective graze for the last 2 days before we came here due to wet conditions. We actually ended up not getting hardly as much rain as they forecast us to get, but we still had enough that we had to spread them out. We got about 9/10 of rain over the course of several days, so we had them spread out. They were grazing more selectively. Their manure had already loosened up. They weren't full-on scouring, but it had loosened up a good bit just due to the selective grazing. They were selecting higher protein, more palatable parts of the plant, and that gets their protein to fiber ratio out of whack, and it causes mechanical diarrhea, mechanical scouring. So obviously I'm not talking about any type of sickness, viral diarrhea or bacterial diarrhea in the cattle. I'm talking about mechanical diarrhea. So cattle are ruminants. They have to have enough fiber in their rumen so that they can regurgitate and ruminate. And if they don't do that, they will scour. They will have diarrhea just like anybody can have diarrhea. And it's caused by just poor diet, basically. So we've been able to virtually eliminate that. All of our manure, this manure is indicative of very high animal performance. That's extremely good quality forage manure pat right there. And there's almost no bits of undigested fiber in there. The little pieces I can see are 1/8 or 1/16 of an inch long, which means that we're getting extremely good conversion efficiency off of this. I would challenge most people, if I could find, we've got a few cows. If you'll look at these cows' hind ends here, nice and clean, grazing extremely high-powered, I would say, forage. There's always a few exceptions. We have a few cows that are manure is a little looser than I would like, But if I would challenge you, if your cows are scouring, go out there and look very closely at that manure when you see it just looking like water on the ground. And you will notice that there's long bits of undigested fiber in there. And that's because with the excess of protein, it's changed the microbes in their rumen over, and they're not able to digest that fiber, and you're losing conversion efficiency. So, you know, as a beef producer, we farm grass and we harvest it with cows, and the product we sell is beef. Now, I know some people argue we farm microbes in the soil, and I'll agree with that. That's true. But just for simplicity's sake, grass is our crop, beef is our product. And we want to make sure we convert as efficiently as we can every blade of grass into a pound of beef. And that's what we're trying to do. So we're about 25 days out from calving. We could have got started. So I'll talk just a second about how we came to, this is our first, we'll have our first calf crop in the spring this year. We're transitioning our whole herd over. We've got some fall bred cows in here right now. They will be the last fall calving cows that we have. I come to that calving date because I knew that I had never seen on our farm when we couldn't have new growth perennial cool season grasses, which here for us is going to be mostly Kentucky 31 fescue, orchard grass, fair amount of rescue grass, bluegrass. But always by April 1st, we generally have cool season grasses that have reached a high enough level of maturity that we can graze them non-selectively without scouring our cattle, without causing mechanical diarrhea. So I said, I'm going to hedge my bet and go an additional about 10 days past that. Just for those odd years that, you know, we have a slow spring. And I'm going to set my calving date 30 days past that. I want these cows to have 30 days of good grazing, high quality grass that's of enough maturity to avoid scouring them. We don't want to deal with sick cattle, poor performing cattle due to grazing immature forage coming up on calving season. So that's what we did. Now we may adjust that calving date some, but that's where we started. We will have a short calving season. We only bred for 45 days, and we expect most of those calves in the first. So I think our official start calving date is like May 10th. So I would expect by the end of May, we will have 95% of our calves on the ground, with just a few stragglers. You know, always have a few second cycle cows. So like I said, we may adjust that. Just walking around, letting you look at the cows here, notice how clean their hind ends are. And like I said, a lot of variation in the, that's a bred cow there. In these cattle, there is a few lactating cows still in here. This, well, as you can actually see there, that cow had a calf on her. Her body condition's a little less than what I like. I think she just gives too much milk, and she's been calving in the wrong time of the year. So that's a fall calving cow. She's nursed her cow all winter on 100% stockpile with no supplement. And you can tell that her body condition is a little bit less than to be desired. I do feel like she is bred again. She will be one of those. We will do a preg check here in a few weeks, but pretty sure she's bred, but she's not in the kind of condition that we would like to see. So anyway, I'll step over here and we'll take a look at the forage a little bit. I did bring a grazing stick out here just to give a little reference of what we're grazing. So stand this up a little bit. As you can see there, You know, good solid. If I stand those grasses up, you know, some of them are as much as 30 inches tall. That's some tall fescue. If you can see, it's in the boot stage, flag leaf. There's some orchard grass right there that some of these calves have been out here creep grazing. There's some bluegrass there. And we've got a pretty good amount of rescue grass coming right here. But this is extremely high quality forage. Was going to talk a second about how much we're harvesting here. So we are harvesting, I did a little math, about 200 cow days per acre. This is our first pass. I expect we will get 2 to 3, possibly 4 grazings on this, depending on the summer. We will graze at high stock density, non-selective grazing with just as high harvest efficiency as we can squeeze out of it, followed by all the recovery time that it takes to get ready to graze again, however long that might be. We've just found that that's given us the best results on our land, the best results for the cattle as evidence. This is the very first year that I've ever waited this long to graze spring forage. I always in the past got started on it much quicker than what's ideal, and this is something that Jim Elizondo taught me in his Total Grazing Academy, you know, so I can tell you unequivocally that it works. Our cattle look great. We're not scouring, we're not having diarrhea, as evidenced by all this manure you can see. Grass productivity is extremely high, and we couldn't be happier. Now, I will point out, as you can see, we got some grass here that was refused, and that's strictly because if I get down here nice and close, I'm not sure if it's showing up in the video, but it's because it's been fouled. They've walked through manure over there, and then they've come in and put it on the grass. So there's always going to be a little bit of that. You can minimize that if you come move them yourself every time they move, and wait for them. Sometimes with the wire lifter, they'll get up and move before they stand up and ruminate, and then they'll come and foul the new paddock, which is never what you want to happen. If I was moving them myself, I would make them get up, stand up, and I'd wait about 5-10 minutes for them to manure and urinate before I moved them into the paddock. But we give up a little bit of that harvest efficiency for convenience by using the wire lifters. So we expect a little bit of fouling. You know, ideally I would like to see it all harvested like that right there. You know, that's very good harvest efficiency, but we're still probably harvesting about 80%. And I don't ever use these grazing sticks to actually figure forage on offer. I usually just use them to sort of measure for a video or something. But I did measure the forage out there. I did calculate the forage according to this grazing stick on a dry matter basis, and I did figure it back to the amount of cattle here, and it did correspond perfectly with about an 80% harvest efficiency that we've kept these cattle fed on. And just by looking at this graze here, I would say that's real close, about an 80% harvest efficiency. So the grazing stick and what we saw on the ground being the 80% harvest efficiency, it did correlate. So I'd say it's pretty close. So we've got these wire lifters in place, going to do the cow moving for us the rest of the day. I'll come out and check on them this evening. And I hope everybody has a fantastic Sunday. As always, you can check us out online at runningtbeef.com. You can like us on Facebook at Running T Beef. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure and click that like and subscribe button on your way out. And everybody have a fantastic day. And by note, since I walked up here, if anybody asks or is curious about what we're feeding there, it's actually just C90 mineral salt. So it's nothing but ocean water that's been dehydrated. We just keep it out here free choice. I always like a little bit of salt with whatever I'm eating, so we offer salt to the cows. It's organic, certified mineral salt, nothing but pristine seawater that they let the sun dry, and they scrape up the salt that's left over and put it in a bag. It's the same salt that I eat on my food in my house. So all right, everybody, have a great day.